One Piece chapter 1162 is here. Oh my goodness. We've got the explosions going off. We have the battle raging, people trying to wrap up their fights or starting to engage in new ones. We have Rayleigh carrying his woman out of there. Everybody else still kind of needs to get it together a little bit, except for Shiki, who is, there are very few people at this point that are just like, listen, let Rayleigh win this one. They're a bunch of fools, is what it is. But I do love seeing Rayleigh going through the smoke, you know, holding her while the battle's still raging. He has his crew behind him, clearing a path for him, fighting through the enemies to kind of give him a cover. I also love seeing Kuma and Eva from another angle. This, again, like I said in the Garp video, most of what we've seen of characters that were already established and known before God Valley, most of what we're seeing stuff that's already been revealed. We're just getting more on it. We're getting it from another angle, or we're getting it through the lens of other characters, and I'm really glad that that isn't being neglected for Kuma and his flashback. I just reread Kuma's flashback, and being able to see it all again from the perspective, just from a slightly different perspective, is really satisfying to me. We're just elaborating a little bit more or showing it from another angle. Honestly, seeing Kuma and Eva side by side, just saying, it doesn't matter which devil fruit it is, just eat it. And we already knew that Eva wasn't going to get to eat the one that he had his hands on, but also, man, I wish he could have, you know, like, him as a dragon would have been amazing. He already feels like a dragon to me, and then Dragon would have had a dragon in the Revolutionary Army, and I just really like that. I feel like his personality as a dragon would have been bonkers and fun. And I know his devil fruit now is bonkers and blah blah blah, but this would have been cooler, admit it. We also got presented with and then immediately robbed from the opportunity or the concept of Katakuri being a dragon, which honestly, I still vote Eva is the dragon. But it all concludes with Kaido actually being the best boy dragon, so I'm not mad, but we'll talk about that in a minute. Eva shouting, we just need one survivor and then we've won. One of probably his most iconic line in the series. My memory is terrible, so you know, I'll take it back tomorrow, but right now that's what I think. Then we get to see everything from Garp's point of view. We see the bodies lying on the ground and we see him absolutely disturbed by it. And as we talked about in my Garp video, Garp definitely knew something was going on. To what extent, we weren't sure, but he knew that something happened, that the Celestial Dragons had a little vacation that they were going on. He knew that they had stolen a treasure from Fuloled and that it would cause a disruption, that probably it wouldn't go so well. We knew he knew something. So the question now remains, actually a lot of questions remain, but one of the questions that I have, how much of Garp's ignorance is because he chose to turn a blind eye because he didn't want to know? Which, if Oda goes that angle, I think is a really interesting thing to explore through these characters. Choosing not to look directly at something because it's easier, but then you're forced to confront it. And then what do you do? And how much of it is the Celestial Dragon total cover-up, more so than we even realized. Because Sengoku does say there was one man who reported some rumors, but he vanished from the Navy ranks. So it seems that the Celestial Dragons, anyone that is attempting to signal to others, is attempting to spread word on what's going on, is eliminated. So that then makes me wonder, the naval soldiers that are on God Valley right now, the ones that were collecting the rabbits, the ones that were helping set up the games, were they all going to be eliminated at the end of this as well? When one of these, every 3 years, when one of these manhunts happen, do they also kill all, do they bring new recruits in on purpose because they're viewed as disposable just as well, so that word doesn't get out? They'll disappear, or the Celestial Dragons will create some sort of, you know, scenario that happens, some sort of battle that they'll manufacture to justify all the deaths. Who's in on it, who's not? I still have a lot of questions around that. For Dragon, it was this overwhelming, I have to get out of here. And for Garp, it looks to be rage. So now my next question that I'm waiting for Oda to answer is, what does Garp do with that rage? Because we obviously don't know at this point. We know about Sword, and a lot of us assume that Garp's intentions from here forth is a naval reform. I think that the story really kind of points us toward at least guessing toward that. But I also think that there's a very, very high likelihood that there's a lot more. Oda very often in his writing will present things and not give the full information and then slowly unveil someone's wider plan. Oda is a long form storyteller. He likes his slow reveals. So I don't think Oda is indicating to us that Garp is faultless. I don't think that Oda is indicating to us that Garp is ignorant, outside of his control, and if he knew, then he would have punched everybody in the face and freed everybody instantly. I think that Oda tends to write his characters with a lot of layers, with a lot of nuance, and with a lot of moral ambiguity or moral complexity. And I think he's setting up Garp with a lot of that is still to be unpacked. So I'm just excitedly waiting for what else Oda is going to show us, either in the rest of this flashback or soon thereafter. But I am thrilled to see this kind of reaction out of him, and we'll get more in a minute. I love Eris. I love Rox. I've made that very clear. I love Rox. I think we all do. And I love Eris. Rox going in, taking his wife, taking his child, making sure that he's protecting them. He's injured. He's got people chasing him. He has his own people chasing him. There's something especially cruel about turning the Davy clan and setting them after Rox and Eris and Blackbeard. Teach. His name is Teach at this point. His name is always Teach, but he wouldn't be Blackbeard yet. Anyway, turning them on their own, having Rox be chased down by his own people, who were very likely the reason that the God Valley incident even happened here, because the Celestial Dragons wanted to hunt them, wanted to kill and exterminate them, and now they're forced to exterminate their own. It's really sick. And whatever it is that sets this kind of hatred against the Davy clan, Rox says, if they're caught, we will be put through agony that makes hell itself seem like a lukewarm bath. And she's fully aware of that and still says, put me down. You can't fight this fight one-handed. Let me be responsible for me and the kid, and I'll meet up with you on Lulisha. I love this line. Where is it? If I was the kind of helpless woman who could only cling to you and couldn't protect a single child, then you wouldn't have fallen in love with me, would you? I assume she needed his help to even get this far, but the point is that she's telling him, I got this from here. You take care of you. It's not going to work out if you don't let me do this. It's such a good line. I love Rox. I love her. I love it all. Rox splits God Valley. Next time we see Garling, he's on the ground and a mess. And even before this, he was a mess because he couldn't regenerate as quickly from Rox's wounds. It's just, this is a great chapter for Rox. Big Mom and Kaido. I love Kaido in this chapter. I love Kaido in this flashback. He has so much personality at this point in his life. Before, he was the kid, you know, he was the young one that was hanging out with all the old guard, that was hanging out with all, maybe not old guard, but all the people more experienced than him. He was kind of clinging to Lin, being like, you're gonna give me one of those devil fruits, right? That's like what we talked about. You said that. But at the point where it's clear that that's not what's going to happen, he just hauls off and beats her. I realize that I should retake that because me laughing while saying that probably it probably doesn't look the best, but I don't care because it's hilarious, him coming from the sky nabbing it out of the air, that smug look on his face while he looks directly at her while he chews on the devil fruit. Oh, it's so funny. All this time, Lin's like, he owes me because I gave him a devil fruit. And it's like, I don't know if you're just making something up to save face. Because what warlord wants to admit to the world, oh, that was stolen from me. I was bludgeoned for that. Had it in my hands and just knocked to the ground. I mean, or she's just, you know, delusional and making up her own realities. But I like to think that she's covering for herself. She's like, I gave that to him. He owes me. I handed it to him with my own hands and my own free will. There were no bruises. I'm fine. And then Kaido's just like, yeah, I owe you. Anyway, I do love the parallels we have here of the two adults with the two children running in opposite directions saying, don't worry, I won't let you die. I'm not going to let them kill you. You know, we have the two child survivors. I mean, there are more than two child survivors, but you know what I mean. We have these two that are the sons of significant figures here in this battle, being rushed away, being protected, while the war rages on. Just really great imagery. All right, we're circling back to Garp here. So I don't know if I'm wrong in doing it this way, but I do read Garp's two lines together. If I ain't awake and dreaming, then it's all real. So what is justice on an island where everything's gone crazy? These are his thoughts here as he's looking around him and seeing what the celestial dragons are actually doing, what the world government is actually doing on God Valley. And he's saying, what is justice if this is what's here? So I am just waiting on what's next from Garp. Regardless of what Oda does, what a fascinating and complex character. The line from Saturn, super fascinating to me. I could not say, the question is Saturn, as Rox said. I could not say, this is also unexpected. So, you know, the goal was to kill Rox. They have failed up to this point. I'm taking this as Emu telepathically speaking to Saturn and asking him, is the job done? Did we kill the one that we planned to kill? And Saturn goes, I don't know. It's difficult to say. Things have gone really different than I thought it would. Now, I'm not sure what he means here, and maybe I'd love to hear y'all's thoughts on this. There is a danger that such wanton destruction might bring about the birth of something entirely new. And then Emu, I think, says that must not happen. And then he arrives on the scene. What do you think is going to happen? What do you think is going to be birthed through all this wanton destruction? Are you concerned that Sun God Nika might show up? That feels like a stretch to me. Are you concerned that something else that we haven't been introduced to in the story might show up? Is there another great force that generally removes itself or generally doesn't get involved in things like Emu does? Or is it something super obvious that I'm just forgetting? Please give me your thoughts on this, because I don't know. I really don't know about this one. Anyway, I love, again, seeing Kuma's flashback from another angle, him going up to each person and telling them, you don't need to thank me, just let's get you out of here. Let's save as many people as possible. And of course, from his flashback, we saw him in the church praying, saying that he's just really disappointed that he couldn't save even more. So we do know that some die here, of course, naturally, but look at the people who he saved. Look at the people who are crying, saying we had lost hope. We never thought that we'd survive this, right? Like, they had 3 weeks of being hunted, literal targets on their backs, people chasing them down for sport while cackling. Of course they didn't think that they would survive this. We already watched so much death right before this, and here Kuma is just grateful to be able to do what he can. Truly, the pawpaw fruit couldn't have been in better hands than his. I really don't think another character could have done this fruit justice, could have done so much with it, or could have used it so well as Kuma. We talk about the dragon fruit and how cool it would have been in other people's hands. I don't want this in anybody else's hand. Anyway, another great line from Rox after he splits the mountain and Garling is on the ground. Rox says, "You dare use my family against me? If this is going to be my end, of course I'll fight to kill." Oh, it is sad to see. It looks like the destruction that Rox is causing is hurting more than just the celestial dragons. In the very foreground, we see a hand with shackles on it. Of course, it's possible that Rox didn't kill that one, but I think the implication here is that Rox just destroyed anyone in his path. Anyway, final page, we have Rox turning to Whitebeard, who is standing by his side in this fight, saying, "There's nothing in it for you. And sure, you want to help?" And Whitebeard says, "Don't worry about it. I've been drinking on your tab this whole time." So Whitebeard, loyal, wonderful, family man Whitebeard, who feels probably some obligation to Rox, even though, you know, the way that he joined Rox's crew was being won in the Davy Back fight, but feels some amount of loyalty to him, it seems. possibly watched Rox save his own family and saw a true dad in Rox and respected that. But man, to have Whitebeard by your side in a battle, that probably feels good. And then Kaido just shows up in his dragon form, super giddy. Like, hey guys, look at me. I'm a dragon now. Hey you two, check this out. I love it. I finally got my own power to use. I want to test out my strength. So he's here to fight too, just because he's super giddy about his new powers. And I love it. I love it because we know Kaido as this stoic, depressed character who's truly unhappy with his life. And what we see now is this goober who smirks while he looks Linlin in the eyes while he's eating the devil fruit and then pops out of the sky and he's like, look at me! Look how cool I am! I love seeing Kaido so joyful like this. It adds a lot to his character to be able to see him at this stage in life, knowing what he's going to become. So Emu doesn't just take over like with Gunko where he possesses her basically. With Saturn, it seems he's using Saturn as a summoning circle, maybe? He seems to be emerging from Saturn, which is very confusing because he didn't do that on Egghead. So what makes this different? Anyway, Roger continues to be horrified. It looks like he has seen Emu. But what I will say is I'm thrilled that Emu's here because Garp is the hero of God Valley, the Navy hero because of God Valley. A lot of people have theorized that Garp and Roger become, that they get reversied and that's why they turn on Rox. I've been theorizing that they probably don't actually turn on Rox and it's just a lie. Because we've seen in One Piece so many times things happen and then the news reports on something completely different because they don't want the truth to get out. And so I've been kind of hoping that we're not gonna do the reversey on Garp and Roger, but that Garp isn't a hero and he isn't the Navy hero. And that's why he doesn't want to talk about the God Valley incident. He's not interested in talking about how he got this particular moniker. Because one, he's not proud of what happened at God Valley. He's not proud to be serving these people. But two, he didn't do it. And so now I'm really, really hopeful that that's exactly what we're going toward. That Emu is the one that kills Rox here. And then because the world can't know that Emu did it, they can't report it like that. They can't let the world know that this, we're not just manhunting people that are not well known in the world. We've now killed someone that the world knows, but you can't know how. Garp, you're the one. You've seen me. You have to take this title. You have to take credit for this death. And then we need a lot more information on Garp after that. How do you feel about everything that's gone down from here? What does that pledge of loyalty look like that you would have had to have given to Emu? If the story does go in that direction, obviously it could go not in that direction, but you know, if it does, what is the pledge of loyalty that you made? And what's your plan that goes in opposition to it? Assuming there is one. Anyway, Garp is horrified. Roger sees this monster appearing from another monster, and he's like, wow, the world's crazy, I gotta go sailing. And Rox says, what is that you say? If I had to call it anything, that represents the world. So interesting that Blackbeard's crew, when they went to Saturn, and Saturn said, what are you looking for? And they said, the world. Does it mean the one who controls the world? Or is there a lot more packed in there that Blackbeard knows because he carries his father's will? I'm very excited for Oda to answer about 100 questions and more. Tell me your thoughts. I would love to hear it. I was just excited to be able to throw a Dio clip in here. You have no idea. Please talk to me more about this chapter. I'm so bummed we're on a break week, but what a chapter to give us before a break. I'll see you again soon. Bye.